Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Aperture Digital, and today we're looking at Oxygen Builder, MetaBox, Slim SEO Schema, Oxygen Gutenberg blocks, and how we can bring all of those technologies together to make a dynamic FAQ block that automatically injects FAQ schema markup using Slim SEO Schema. So that's a lot of technologies we're looking at. Custom fields with MetaBox, dynamic insertion of FAQ schema with Slim SEO Schema, some PHP to help us manage all of that information, Oxygen Builder, and Oxygen Gutenberg blocks. It was so much I had to say it twice. So what we're going to do is create our MetaBox custom fields, look at Slim SEO Schema, build out a reusable block with Oxygen, and see how that all works with a WordPress blog post. All right, let's dive in. So the first thing I'm going to do is create my MetaBox custom fields, and instead of putting this on a settings page or a custom post type or anything like that, we're going to be putting the custom fields for FAQ question and answers directly on the post. So we'll head over to MetaBox and click on Custom Fields. And we're going to add a new field group. This is going to be called FAQ group. And this is a group field. So the first one is going to be the type of group, and that will allow us to have nested questions and answers for our FAQs. So create that new field group, name it FAQ group, and the first field is going to be a group field. Let's go adjust some of the settings, specifically the ID here. I'm going to do FAQ underscore group underscore CF for custom field. This is going to be clonable. And now we have that clonable group field. Let's add the question and answer. So the question is going to be a text. The answer is going to be a text area. So let's go into the text, which is going to be FAQ question. And I want to make sure my naming convention for the IDs follows this, and we'll see why later. But the ID is FAQ underscore question underscore CF. The next text area will be our FAQ answer. And this is going to be FAQ underscore answer underscore custom field. Let's double check everything because these IDs are very important for this case. Looking good. It's clonable. Now let's go see where this is going to apply. Let's add it to pages and posts just in case we need it on our pages. I don't think so, but just in case, you can control where these custom fields are going to apply. And let's click publish. And that's all you should need to do for the custom fields with MetaBox at this point. All right, so the next step is going to be to head over to Oxygen, and you will need to have the Gutenberg extension for Oxygen installed. If you want to look at that plugin real quick, this comes with the Oxygen Ultimate package they have. So we've got Oxygen installed, and then the Oxygen Gutenberg integration, which if you're using dynamic data like custom fields, I think is really great because you control it on the page or post. So we're going to use this Gutenberg integration. So head over to Oxygen and go to block library. Once you have Gutenberg integration installed, you see this block library pop up. And we're going to make a new block. We're going to call this FAQ block. Let's call it FAQ repeater. And let's give it a category of content and then publish it. And edit it with Oxygen. So this reusable block will have our FAQ question and answer. When I'm writing blog posts, doing SEO for client sites, I always like to have some FAQs on the page so that we can use that FAQ schema and extend what it looks like in the SERP with Google. So those FAQ question and answers will pop up on the search results. So what we're going to do is add a repeater, because if we have a clonable MetaBox group, we might need to loop through more than one question and answer. So we're going to have a repeater, and we'll go into query and set as use MetaBox group. And you'll see that it says group right here. That's not very good. Let's save it and jump back over to MetaBox and make one change so that you can see what's going on. So we'll jump back over to MetaBox, go to custom fields, and edit this FAQ group. So you see how it says group right here? That's not a good enough label. Let's call this the FAQ repeater and hit update. Let's come back to the builder and refresh it. Jump into our repeater and go back to the query. So click on repeater, go into query, and now you should see it. If we click on use MetaBox group, we've got our FAQ repeater. That makes more sense. If you had more than one MetaBox groups, you would see that list here. We only have one, and that's what we're going to pick. We're going to hit apply query parameters. Inside the div, we're going to add a heading for our FAQ question, and double click, or I triple click actually, triple click and highlight everything in here and hit insert data. You don't have to do it that way, you could delete it, but I find triple clicking, highlighting it, and inserting data works best. And then we'll go to insert dynamic data by the post. Down at the end, you'll see MetaBox group field. The integration is tight here with MetaBox, so FAQ question will be for our question and insert. And that way it'll delete all that text that's there and just have what we need for our dynamic heading. The next thing we're going to do is add a text element underneath the heading. So let's add a text. And again, just triple click there, make sure it's all highlighted, and insert data, and then do MetaBox field group again, and select your answer, hit insert, done. So you can style this how you want. Let's do a little bit of styling so we can see it. So on the repeater, I'm going to add a class FAQ-repeater. And this has some styles so that we can see it's got some padding and some background. Let's go to the actual heading and do FAQ-heading and FAQ-answer. That should be good for now. And this is going to be an FAQ item, this div that's wrapping the dynamic data. FAQ-item. So on the repeater, we've got FAQ repeater. On the div wrapping the heading and the text, we have FAQ item. On the heading, we have FAQ heading. And on the text, you got it, FAQ answer. Let's add, well, we could add some row gap, or we could use the padding from a p tag. So the heading is going to be an H3. And the text is going to be a p tag. So that should give us a little bit of space there. A lot of browsers have a default value for p paragraphs with a little bit of padding there. So I'm just going to leave it just like that. So right now we're going to have a repeater block that we can put anywhere on a post and start injecting that dynamic data. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to save that and close down the block editor for now and head over to a post. So we've got an FAQ post page set up here, and let's go take a look at it. So this basically has a little post about the FAQs or whatever. This is all just fake text. And when I'm doing my blog posts for SEO, again, I use something like CR FAQs about this blog post. And then what I want to do is add that block from Oxygen, and that's called FAQ repeater. So it's going to look kind of funny. Unfortunately, we won't see what it looks like on the back end, but you can add that. And if you wanted to, let's do that right now. Let's go hop back into the builder and change this to where it says repeater number 2 to something like FAQ repeater. So I'm going to head back over to Oxygen, block library, and let's edit the FAQ repeater in Oxygen. And see how it says repeater 2? That's where it's pulling that name. I'm going to do FAQ repeater there, and I think that's good enough. Close that back down, and let's update and refresh. See what we got here. Now it says FAQ repeater. I wish it wasn't quite so large. It takes up a lot of space, but that's what we're working with. So now when we come down to the post, you can see our FAQ group and our FAQ repeater custom fields. So let's do question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. And this is going to be answer number 1, answer 2, answer 3, update. Let's go see what it looks like on the front end. So now you see our block, which has some styling. It doesn't look very good, so you can style it however you want. Maybe you don't want any styles. I did this just so you could see that the styling on the Oxygen block comes across, and now it's completely dynamic for the page or post, which in itself I think is really awesome, and it's not that hard to do. If you come back over to the FAQ repeater block in Oxygen, and let's change something like the background color to something like this. Do something like a blue color here. Update that, refresh, changes to blue. Let's do a darker color, like a dark blue. Save that. Let's come into the FAQ heading, and let's say text color white. The text here on the FAQ answer class, white. Hop over. There we go. That's how you do it. So now that's good, but now we need to get the FAQ schema on the page. If we inspect right now and do Control F and search for accepted, there's nothing there for FAQ schema accepted question and accepted answer. So when I check a page, I'll come and look at the DOM and search for accepted, and it will show us if there is a schema there. So let's dive into Slim SEO Schema and watch how this all ties together. So I'm going to open up the admin and head over to settings, and we have Slim SEO down here, and this is Slim SEO Schema, which allows us to add FAQ or article or whatever type of schema markup and control where we want that to go. So it comes default with this article. Let's delete that. Refresh, so there's no schemas. And let's add a new schema and use FAQ. So if we go and look at the properties, we can add a new question, and here's where the magic happens. Watch this. FAQ. There's our FAQ repeater group, MetaBox group field. We'll pop dynamic data into the question. FAQ answer for the answer, and save that. And now this would work. Let's go here. This would work if we wanted to put it on a singular post. But what if you don't have a FAQ question and answer filled out for that post? Well, it's going to output it on the front end, and you might have errors in your Google Search Console, or if you do rich results, and try to test the rich results of that page. It might say, hey, we see FAQ schema, but it's not there. So I like to extend this with WP Codebox to go and check to see if the post actually has an FAQ question and answer. And so this is a little more advanced, but if you want it to be right and perfect, you have to take care of the tiny details, especially if clients might be adding posts or adding FAQs. So at this point, we've got this FAQ schema, and it's going to go to all posts. So singular posts, all. Or I could just do the one FAQ. So let's do that and see what happens. And this means it's not dynamic. This is just going to apply this schema to this post one time, which isn't very good, but let's go see if it's working. And hit refresh and inspect. Boy, I hope this works. All right, so I searched for accepted, and down in the footer is where Slim SEO Schema outputs the FAQ schema markup, and we see we've got our question number 1. See if I can zoom in a little bit. I can't here. So we've got question number 1, accepted answer, answer number 1, so on and so forth, all the way down until we get to the end of the custom fields. So our schema is working, but that's not very good. Let's pop over here and update that one. We want it to be dynamic. So let's go back over to Slim SEO and remove this and change it to code. So I can use a code snippet. And in WP Codebox, I have a snippet here in the cloud. And I'm going to steal, I believe it's this one right here. This is why I like WP Codebox, because I can play around with different snippets and store them in the cloud and then bring them in. So I'm going to bring in a new snippet, Slim SEO Schema FAQ, PHP, and this is going to be always, and I believe it's plugins loaded. It will tell me if I'm incorrect though. Save that. So this is going to run on the FAQ schema in Slim SEO, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is complex, so bear with me. It still kind of makes my brain hurt when I do this. So I have this function, and what this function is going to do is go and get the field groups and then iterate through each of those field groups looking to see if it's empty. So FAQ, when you use a group field, returns an array, and when you're looking at arrays, you have to iterate through or use some other array lookups. I like to use this for loop. It's how I know how to do it, and it works, but it's going to look at each FAQ and then analyze the question and analyze the answer and say, hey, if the question's empty or if the answer is empty, I don't want my validation to return true or false. So if it's empty, return false, and then stop, because there's already something wrong with my custom fields, meaning a question or answer is empty. Else, it's going to just go ahead and say validation is true and return yes in Slim SEO Schema. So I had a little error here, and I didn't copy the whole script. So this is my script, the whole thing, and it should work now. And feel free to use this. I put it up on YouTube for people to use and learn. And I did debug all of this with Oxygen Builder in the code block to make sure that everything was returning properly. I can do another video looking at that, but man, it would get pretty long. So just one more time, we're looking at all the FAQ field groups and iterating through the FAQ items with a for each loop, and then going and grabbing the question, grabbing the answer, and then checking if it's empty or not, or null. And if it is, do not return true, return false. And then if all the questions and all the answers are there, return true. And that's because Slim SEO Schema will display that schema if it returns true on your code block. So let's go back over to Slim SEO and take a look at that. Stay on page, save. Let's enable this and head over here. I bet it's going to give me another error. It does that a lot. I don't know why WP Codebox sometimes does that, but you'll save it and it says it's not saved. Maybe something else has happened, but I'm not going to worry about that now. So we're back over to our location where we want this, and let's delete the singular and change that to code, and then pop in our function, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Now this FAQ schema is going to apply anywhere this function is satisfied, and I think that's really powerful. So let's go and see if we can break it. This one right here. So if we hit refresh, I'm going to do a hard refresh and inspect the page for accepted. You'll see our FAQ markup is there. So if the code works, I should be able to go here and delete question number 2 and hit save. And now we should not have any FAQ, because this would throw an error in Search Console or your rich results, because it would say, hey, we have an FAQ markup, but the question's missing. So let's go refresh, and you'll see that it updates on the block, so it's not there. And let's go look for accepted, and now it's not there. So it can't find anywhere here. We can go down to the WP footer. There's no script there or anything. Let's go back to Oxygen. Let's go back to the post and do question number 2. Update, refresh. Question number 2 is there. We should see the schema pop up. Boom, there it is. So, come on. What more do you want than this right here? I mean, to me, this is really powerful. If I was actually going to be working on the page, and let's say I've written this blog post, you could even make your heading dynamic, and maybe tie into your title and something. But I would just say something like FAQs about my target keyword, maybe something like that. Try not to keyword stuff too much, but sometimes you can sneak them in that way. So this is FAQs about how fast is a Tesla car. I would come down here and say, what's the max speed of a Tesla? And then write the answer. The max speed is 50,000 miles per hour. This is all fake. That's not how fast they go. I don't know the answer. X miles per hour. Update. Then I'd say, okay, I want to pop in my FAQ repeater. Update. Come over here to the front end. There's my FAQ. Do I need to worry about schema? Nope, because it's right there. And there's the text. What's the max speed of the Tesla? Here's the answer. And that's the tutorial. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been up to. I'm going to do this for Bricks Builder next, but I have a lot of Oxygen sites where we're ranking really good, and I use this. And Oxygen blocks is actually really powerful, in my opinion. Some people complain that if you make a change to the block on the front end, that it doesn't sync on the back end in Oxygen. So maybe you wanted to just edit it on the front end and have it sync back over. But I use Oxygen blocks primarily when I'm dealing with dynamic data and trying to make things as dynamic as possible. And in this use case, if you have a small business and you're doing SEO for people, you don't need the tools to be incredibly fancy all the time. You need them to save you time, and I think this is a huge time saver. So that is the end of this tutorial. This is my first Oxygen Builder tutorial. So if you are interested in this, I'll try to do some more Oxygen Builder tutorials, because I use it and Bricks Builder at the same time. I think they're both great builders. They each have their own use cases. So great tools, and let's make the most out of it and make our lives easier. So again, this is John with Aperture Digital. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Let's go dynamic data in 2023. Have a great rest of your day.